Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Thank you for joining us today. I hope all of you have managed to find the time to have some dinner. Okay, so today we have a very special episode because we have one of our most veteran volunteer manager from Team Nila to share with us. Right, when I say veteran, how veteran is he? Okay, just to put into perspective, I only joined the team for about 1 year already. All right, but this guy has been around since I think 10 years over ago, right? So I think he has also like contacted all of you, and I believe most of the people here also got his handphone number inside your contact list. So this person is none other than Mr. Alan Chen. All right. So today he will be sharing with us a little bit about a bit about DISC and how it can help us to understand ourselves, understand other people, so that we can build better relationships with them. So I'm not sure about you, but I'm actually quite excited about what he's going to share. All right. So without further ado, let us give a warm welcome to Alan and allow him to start his sharing this evening.
Yeah, we'll
All
share
right,
the
Alan, the
screen.
stage is yours.
Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, can see.
yes.
Okay. So hi everyone. I believe most of you know me. My name is Alan. So one of a fellow Team Nila member in the family itself lah. So actually, this is the program for today. We will be having about 1 hour of time with you. So 7:45 to 7:50, I will do a DISC questionnaire at your own pace, at your own timing. Then followed by which I realized that some of you have been asking me, why do I volunteer so long in, I would say volunteer or work with volunteer so long in YOG, APG, SEA Games, and SENESO. So I share with you a bit of my life story. After that, from 8 to 8:10, I will share what is DISC in terms of the 4 domains. And then lastly, we'll be covered by the Q&A. Okay, I will go to the next slide. Give me a minute, Can see the slides? Yeah. So if you can, whip out your phone, there's a QR code, so you can scan it, fill it up. So at 7:50, I'll be back. This is the DISC personality test that you can do it at your own time, at your own pace as well. So try to fill out all the questions. At the end, there is your personality profile, which is your 4 domains, of which you can try to save the reports. And then after that, I will be sharing with you more in-depth information on what DISC means, what are the domains, like what is D, what is I, what is S, and what is C as well. Okay?
Yes,
So
so
in the
you can
questionnaire
use
for
your
about
phone.
20 questions. You can take out your phones.
You can use your phone and scan the QR code. If you're using a laptop, right, just go ahead and type in the link in your in your browser, and then you'll be able to get that. Let me try to share the link here. Just a moment, guys.
Can saw it?
Yeah.
I also typed the link there as well already.
All right. So Alan already typed. You just have to click on it. The page will load immediately.
Yeah. So there is what best describe you and what least describe you as well. So you can fill it up accordingly at your own pace, at your own time. Yeah, because you realize that prior to that, we try to do a pre-test. Some of you may not fill it up. So might as well, we take about 5 to 10 minutes for everyone to fill it up as well.
In what? You go to the chat, you click the link that we put in the chat, then you can just go and do it immediately.
Sorry, Alan, it's Joanna here.
Hi, Alan.
If I'm using my handphone, where can I see the chat?
Okay, you can, let me see, 123test.com/personality.test.
What personality test?
This personality test for this DISC profile. Okay, then you will be able to.
Hey, Jackie, every
Hi.
question only have one answer, is it? Or you can select more than one?
Every questions, there is 4 sub-questions. You need to choose one that best describe you, a thumbs up, followed by a thumbs down, what least describe you.
You mean
Okay.
within the square, I can choose one
Ah.
thumb up and one thumb down?
Yes, correct.
Or must choose?
Must choose.
Okay.
Yeah, so once you fill out, you have a report something like this that states the D, the I, the S, and the C. Later, I will share with you a bit more information as well. We give about 5 more minutes for everyone to fill up. After that, you can choose to do a print screen, screenshot, or you can save the report. Then I'll share with you further information as well. How's everyone doing? The QR code, okay? You can choose to unmute. If there's any error, you can let us know. 2 more minutes, we shall start. We start at 7:55.
Actually, Grace, you can just open up your browser, whether you're using Google or Safari or whatever. Key in the URL, the address over there, 123test.com/DISC personality test. You can go and do the test immediately on the phone.
Okay,
So
just give me a
is it
moment.
the IQ test?
Huh? IQ test?
Not IQ, not IQ, DISC.
Personality test.
Oh, there's a DIS. Okay, I find it already.
Just hold on, I'm typing in.
Can
Oh
take
my.
your time.
No worries, everyone. Your time. If not, you can fill it at the end of the session. We can circulate you the link as well. So you need to choose what best describe you, either in work or in family, and then at the same time, what least describe you as well.
Hold on, I cannot go hyperlink now. Okay, not hyperlink. Wait. Wait. Oh, triple. Yeah. Triple dot. 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3.
Test.
Test.com.
.com.
Dash.
/
And on. Backslash or front dash.
Backslash.
Yeah.
That's all right. Take your time.
Mind assessment.
Test.com. Then 1, 2, 3. Then this personality test.
You can go to the chat, and then you can click on the link as well.
Can I just click on the link? But I can't click on the link though.
No, go to the chat, the Zoom chat group.
Oh, okay. Oops, pardon me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, hold on. I click on it. Okay, done. I go in already. Oh, this is so much easier. Okay, can.
Yeah.
So the test.
So like for example, the first question, there is 4 boxes there. People look up to you. I tend to be a kind person. I accept life as it is. People say that I have a strong personality. So you choose what best describe you.
So I got to click the one that best describe me.
Yes, correct. And the least describe you will be the thumbs down.
Less describe me or best describe me?
Best is thumbs up.
Best. Okay. Sorry. I wanted to read the instruction first. Pardon me. Click on it. Wait, hang on. Let's read the instruction. Select the one that best describes you. Wait, hang on. Select the one that you consider most like you. Okay. This one, no. This one, yeah. Okay, just hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, Grace, I will just mute your mic first, okay? So you
sorry.
take your time and do the.
So to those who have just joined in, what we are doing now is an online DISC profiling test. Actually, it's a free software or a free test. You know, after you finish the report itself, they will show you something like this as well. How's everyone coping? Okay?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's okay, you all just continue to do the test. All right, later on when he explained the domains, at that point, you probably already have your results. So if you already have your results by then, you can actually, just do the comparison with Alan at that point in time. So maybe we let Alan start with the sharing first.
Yeah. So, later, once you finish the report itself, you will see something like this. Later, I show you a bit more. What is the report all about? Time check itself. Later, I'll be sharing you my life story. A lot of volunteers tend to ask, Alan, why do you volunteer for so long and so on and so forth. So I'll share with you one of the reasons why I enjoy working with volunteers as well. I will also be sharing with you some of some of the interesting stories of behind YOG and also SEA Games or even our Team Nila logo. So actually for me, I started living in a one-room flat in Toa Payoh, so I was very quite mischief itself. Actually, as you can see, this is the playground, right? Yeah, so during Mid-Autumn Festival, during celebration, you just imagine I do play with fire lah. Unfortunately, I was caught, in the end, then I managed, I would say I burned down near playground. So I was very mischievous as well. So this is one of the HDB blocks that I stay inside. What I'm trying to say down here is that try to enjoy every single moment in life, no matter what you do and so on. So some background of me itself is I was actually a scout. So this is some of the pictures that what my scouting experience was about. So I led expedition projects to Indonesia, India, and so on and so forth. So as you can see from the right-hand side corner, top right-hand corner, it was like an orienteering project that we did with Indonesia Scouts itself. On the bottom right, I did represent Singapore to go to some student exchange, youth exchange, then we exchanges ideas and so on. So I did some form of facilitation, sharing in big groups or in small group as well. So one of the reason why I share with you is that in Scouts, I believe always that you must be prepared. And that is why, later I'll be sharing with you a lot more information. Anything that we do, we try to be prepared as best as you can. So YOG, I believe most of you all do know me from YOG. So one of my most memorable experience was the World Olympic Games. We organized it. There was a total about 23,000 volunteers volunteering at the point of time. So how do we do it? It was with a team of team members, which is workforce division. We organized it, and then I was also the workforce manager in Bishan at the point of time as well. So to me, it's always about people. That is why in Team Nila, it's always about people. It's about volunteers like yourself that committed your passion, your courage, and you volunteer as one family. Friendship, that's more important one. Following which, I went over to the National Volunteer Philanthropy Center. So from YOG, we recruited 23,000 volunteers. Then after that, YOG ended my service. Then I went to the SGCAS, which is the National Volunteer Philanthropy Center. So what I did over there was that basically I inject fund. We led a team of SGCAS volunteers to manage volunteers. That is why you can see, it's not just about volunteering, not just about volunteers stepping forward, but how can we inject fund, During all the sessions, what I did, basically again, I tried to teach people how to do balloon sculpting. At the right-hand side, as you can see, I believe some of you can see the familiar faces like Pauline Lu. Pauline Lu started in our movement, and then in 2015, together with a bunch of like-minded friends, then we also did the Youth Olympic. We did the torch relay that was at the Marina Bay Sands. So again, back to what I shared earlier on, it's about fun, it's about passion itself, that how can we move volunteerism at the larger scale. So now back into, I would say, Team Nila, you can see we have our volunteers leader managing the volunteers. One of our key moments was actually that time, as you did remember, we have about nearly 1,000 volunteers gathering after SEA Games at the heart of the OCBC Square. So you can see the awesome pictures that we did, the fun, the passion, the enjoyment that we did as one family. So I think end of the day, why I did stay on in Team Nila is really because of friends and because of the volunteers like yourself. How can we move Singapore as a caring society? How can we move Singapore as a gracious movement as well? So nothing is not possible without the staff. It's not just about me, but it's just about the whole team, the volunteer engagement partnership team, or the Team HQ. From our big boss, Serene Chua, to Ethan, being team lead. We do have Serene Wang, who is taking care of the East Zone. We do have Hui, that's anchoring the volunteer management system. Marie, West Zone. Jackie, as you know, Jackie is from the Northeast. Pauline, Hong Chin, as well as Chong Ming. Yeah. If I may check, some of you, I believe, you did the White Youth Olympic Games. As you can recap. Wait, I think you all can't see the screen. So as you can recap, this is the YOG volunteer. Sorry, this is the YOG, the captions, the pictorial movements, the different symbols, and so on and so forth. So in fact, as you can see, I believe someone was from YOG, and every words, every picture means, like, you know, from the star to the rings and so on and so forth. So even that, actually that time we do have a volunteer logo. So you can see it's pretty interesting, right? You know, we fight for volunteers. We wanted to have a volunteer logo during that time for YOG. You can see the different colors, the different pictures and so on. All these are done by volunteers. It's not done by staff. So you imagine, you know, you think through your journey as a volunteer. It's about your passion, it's about your friends, about how can we move Singapore together as one people, one nation. Team Nila. So if I may ask, right, some of y'all may understand what is Team Nila, the different logos and so on. So if I may check with you, right, why purple? Do anyone know? Why red? Why the 4 dots? Why there's a boomerang? Do y'all know why or not? You know, like Singapore Crescent, right? There's a, you know, everything, Crescent means a young nation. And then followed by the stars, it means something. So when it comes to Team Nila, the logo itself, it basically means something as well. Guess, have a guess.
If you know, you can just type it in the chat. Then let us know so that everybody can see. Just put in your guess, no problem.
Yeah, or if not, you can unmute your mic, try to do a guess. Why purple? Why 4 dots? Why not 5 dots? Friendship inclusiveness, almost similar. 4 dot means 4 races. Okay, pretty interesting.
Wow.
I don't know lah.
This is Singapore, okay? Okay, I'll jump directly to the answer. So as you can see, purple was actually because of Youth Olympic Games. That time we call ourselves Purple Army. And actually purple was the international colors for sports volunteerism, or volunteerism in short. So that's how we embrace the purple within the Team Nila movement itself. So something interesting, as you can see down here, boomerang basically symbolizes the sports volunteer movement. The volunteers do come back. So it's like boomerang. Boomerang always come back. So after events, as well as the 5 giving platform and so on and so forth. And the 4 dot basically represents volunteers coming together as one volunteering family. That's why we always name ourselves Team Nila Family. That contributes to the entire success of Singapore, or entire success for the sports as well. So the 4 dots brings about the collective strength that we work together as one family as well. How about Nila logo? You all know what is Nila, right? Why Nila? If you didn't realize, right, the face there's a heart shape as well. Why there's a heart shape?
Nila mascot, right?
Nila mascot. Yeah, correct. I mean, Vivian is right. You know, Nila is named behind the legendary, I would say, the legend of Singapore, Wisang Nila Utama. Yes, heart basically represents a passion. So I give you the answer. So you can see, you know, the heart face itself inspire friendship. The red mandate is about his passion, his energy for sports as well. So some pretty interesting things that you need to take note of: our history, of our values, of why Team Nila, there's 4 dots, there's a boomerang, as well as Nila mascot itself. Okay, So, you know, before I even start the formality part of sharing what DISC, just to share with you, I do have a cert in terms of DISC. So I'm certified internationally to train people, to tell people what is DISC, as well as to coach people on DISC in terms of profiling, as well as sometimes for DISC, they do organizational development as well. So DISC, there's 4 domains, as you can see, D, I, and S, and C. So D basically represents dominance. I most likely is influential. C, I would say, is compliant. S is steadiness. So actually, the whole story of DISC is started with this thing called the elements, which is the fire, the earth, air, and water. It started actually since 444 BC. That time it was written by someone, and you also recognize that people seems to act in 4 different ways. And at the same time, the reason why they act different ways is because due to external factors. So when I talk about DISC, it's mainly about profiling and what's the external factors affect you as well. What external factors affects you so that you react accordingly to external factors. Yeah, I think the slide. So a lot of people also tend to ask, you know, there's also about MBTI. MBTI as well as DISC. So DISC, I would say, is much more simpler. MBTI is sorts individual into 16 4 letters. It can go to introverts, sensing, institutions, thinking, feeling, and so on and so forth. And DISC is much more simpler and in a way easier for us to profile. And for DISC, that's why earlier in the questions, there's only 24 for you to choose. For MBTI, there's over 90 questions. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier on, DISC, there's 4 domains: dominance, I would say compliance, influence, as well as steadiness. Okay. I think we need to forget the slides. So DISC is not a label for us to label people. It's not something to hide behind. It's not about the answer. It's not about the measurement of IQ, skills, or even knowledge. It's not about who I am, because DISC people do change as well. DISC is actually a behavioral language that focuses on the behavior, like what I shared with you earlier on, about the external factors. DISC is also not about DISC is about a universal language that is used across, that people can better understand. DISC is very neutral because there's no right, no wrong, no good or no bad, because all different styles that do have the strength, limitations, and DISC can be applied to life, social, business, and so on and so forth. It's in a way for us to categorize how do you react when it comes externally. So one of the key domains for D, as you can see down here, is driven, direct, decisive, strong-willed, daring, determined, and so on and so forth. People with D place an emphasis on shaping the environment by overcoming oppositions to achieve results. So they are a bit more strong-willed in a way. So this is some of the traits, this is some of the characteristics in terms of D. People within the D, I believe some of you are, as you fill out the DISC questionnaire, you are in the D category. So in the D category, these are some of the characteristics: direct, decisive, high ego, you're a problem solver, you're a risk taker, you're a self-starter, you're independent, you know, you're a bottom line organizer, you value time, you always challenge status quo, you're innovative. Some possible weakness: you overstep authority, you know, you don't like routine, you always like new things, you know, you're being motivated by new challenges, power, and so on and so forth. So a person with D is motivated mainly by winning, competition, or success. At the same time, a D person is described as direct, demanding, maybe forceful, at times self-confidence. And they are mainly driven by results. Anyone with D? Anyone in the group that has a D?
Yeah, if you have a D in your profile, just type me in the chat.
Yes.
Emily, wow, okay. Roger, wow.
Roger, you are D. Oh, okay.
D King.
By
Interesting.
the way, where do you see the result? I finished it. I don't think I see anything.
Must
Yeah.
press next after you
Yeah,
finish the question.
Correct.
Next, but down here put what I see is only save report or buy report. Then there's no part that shows.
Okay, later I come to you.
Okay, can.
Then,
Thanks.
yeah. So maybe I like everyone to guess, being the profile of D, dominance, there's some characters or there's some people that we know best as the dominance. Yes.
Donald Trump.
Yeah. Exactly. So people in the category D, as you can see, Donald Trump, in Singapore context. In Singapore context?
Lee Kuan Yew.
Cannot mention politicians.
I think some of y'all got it already. Okay.
Ethan Ong.
Ethan Ong maybe.
Our former, our late Mr. Lee.
Yeah, correct. So in terms of communicating with the D, so I will say again, right, there's 4 domains. So the way we communicate to every single category of people may differ. Being a D, they are much more result oriented. So you give them the portal what you want to achieve. Be brave, you speak up, and you also focus on what you want. You don't cannot repeat because they don't want to spend time listening to you, and you always focus on solutions because they don't like to hear problems.
Because they are a problem themselves first.
Yes. Oh, okay. Okay.
Hi, Jen. Hi, Alan.
Yeah.
Actually, I got a question. Is this menu manager, the Sir Alex Ferguson, is it a person with a high D? Sir Alex?
That depends also because at the same time, like for I myself, right, the D also changes according to scenario. DASC basically measure in terms of how you react to external factors. Okay? So I. So people with I, as you can see, they are much more charming. They speak up, energetic, and enthusiastic, and they're persuasive, and they're very optimistic. People with I place an emphasis on shaping environment by influencing others. Early on, when we talk about D is a person that want results, want to be driven, want to take action quickly. I is more towards I influence you, I talk to you, I persuade you so that you come on board, and then we work together as one family. It's very different. So some of the traits of influence, general characteristics as you can read down there, trusting, optimistic, persuasive, a bit talkative, emotional, they are creative problem solver, they encourage people, they motivate everyone to achieve the result is, unlike a D. D is the chong, they are very independent, they can one-man show. If the I is basically they prefer to work as a family, but they like to talk, they are peacemaker, some possible weakness as you can see there, tends to listen only when it's convenient because they always like to talk. And the greatest fear for them is rejection. At the same time, it's important to take note that I may face loss of influence, disapproval when they are being ignored because they always like to be heard. Anyone in I? Any of our team here in I? Ems. Can see. Grace. Vivian, you also in I. You are mixed. Okay. Okay, some of the, I would say, well-known people that's in I.
Mother Teresa.
Not.
Gandhi.
Maybe. More. Obama.
Jack Neo.
Jack Neo, definitely one of them. George Yeo, maybe, I would say.
Jackie, yeah.
Jackie, I think it's a high. Okay, so I think some of y'all got it. Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, the actor, the actresses, they like to engage people, they like to influence, they like to be very inspiring. So in fact, for DASC, when you talk about DI, they are very outward facing. Take note, DI is always very outward facing. They are very resource oriented. They always like to mingle with people. Okay, some ways communicate with I. You share your experience, you allow them to talk because they always like to talk a lot. You focus on positivity, positive details. You don't overlap them with too many things because they always try to talk and try not to disturb them. Okay, the S, which is steady or steady, so calm, patience, predictable, stable, warm, passive, and loyal. So people with an S, they emphasize on working with others within a safe environment. Unlike an I, S is more towards a safe environment. So as you can see, some of the characteristics of an S: good listener, team player, predictable, understanding, friendly, the value to the team, they are reliable, dependable, they are loyal, good listener, they are good in leading conflicts, but they always don't like change. Unlike a D. D always change is okay, I adapt change pretty quickly. It takes a lot of time to adjust to changes. They hold a grudge. They are sensitive to criticism because they always prefer a same environment. So as I mentioned earlier on, the steady, their greatest fear is lack of security, and they are motivated by a lawyer. Anyone with a S? Anyone?
Auntie Lily.
Okay, Sun is a S. Auntie Lily is a S. Anthony is a S. Okay, Patricia.
Grace.
Anyone else?
So Grace, later I think Alan will teach us how to read the profile. If you got two same, it's not you got dual personality. It's normal. All of us have two. It's just that is it the same or not?
Yeah, correct. So maybe I point down here, some of y'all may have dual personality. It is fine because like what Jackie mentioned, some of us, we have two high point. So like for me, I'm high in D as well as I. So it's important to take note of the percentage as well. The percentage, the one that's slightly more is your key or primary domain that normally when you react, how do you react to public, how do you react to people and so on and so forth. Then the lower domain is the one that you can see in the report. Okay, so some of the people in S, as you can see. Okay. So communicating with the S, be personal, amicable, you express your interest in them, tell them what you expect from them, you take time to provide clarification, you be polite, and then you try not to be too aggressive, try not to be too confrontational. Now I toggle my slides. So as I recap just now, I've recapped about D, being dominance, I, influential, S, I would say is steadiness, C is compliant. So as you can see, it's mainly they are cautious, systematic, they are private, they are objective, analytical, diplomatic, accurate, and reserved. So you can imagine these are the traits that each of the profile have, and when it comes jobs, when it comes career development, you may need to review on that. So maybe I would say for a C person, you may want to go analytical because that's an accountant what is required. D person may maybe go for events management. I, artists, actor, actresses, and so on and so forth. Some of the key traits of a C: accurate, analytical, they are very careful, they always look for facts first. Unlike D, D is a person that no facts, they can move. C, once you talk to them, they need to understand all the facts, as many facts as you can, so they can make a correct decision. And when they make the decision, it should be compliant with the existing environment, or if there's past data, you can give it to them so that they can make accurate decision as well. And they're very systematic. So actually, they are also the key anchor, what we term, they are the key anchor of reality. D is a person that always chong, but C is a person that they anchor to the ground. They are talking to the ground, they like to gather information, they critique, they also test information as well. But some possible weakness, they need to understand where's their boundary. Okay, they always be bogged down with, because sometimes there's too many information for them to analyze, and then their greatest fear is criticism, because they like to be in a safe environment, and their motivation is behind high standards of quality, you know, they don't like to talk a lot, unlike an I. They are very detailed, logical organization of information. So as you can see in this, basically this profile, what are the careers available for them? How do I talk to them even? Who has a C? Anyone with a C? Quite some of them. Guess. Okay, now we can guess who are the personality that you think that is the C that you know?
Jack Ma.
Jack Ma. Okay, yeah, almost.
Xiao Pauline.
Xiao Pauline, okay. Come guess. You know, so just now we kept the, you know, like maybe Donald Trump. I actor, I is also Obama. We have covered S. How about C? Bill Gates. Okay, so yeah, some of you are correct. So as you can see, Bill Gates, you know, even the Queen of England, and also even I would say Albert Einstein. So they are correct. They are careful. They like to talk a lot, work within their safe environment, and so on. So in a way, how do we communicate to a S? So they focus on details. Give them as much information as you can. You know, don't go so much on emotions and so on. You be patient with them because you want to have more information. You be persistent and be diplomatic. So it's very different from a D. D person is you just give them the solution, don't give them problems. C and S, they would like to understand more. So give me the facts, give me the details so that I can give you the correct decision as well. Yeah, give me some time to order my slides. That's my mouse. So this is like, I would say this is a snapshot of what DISC means. You know, in a normal environment, when it comes D, they always like to decide. When it's under pressure, they are a bit demanding because that is whereby their energy goes to fight. You know, extreme reaction, they leave. You know, I, persuading, enthusiastic. When they're under pressure, they oversell. Extreme reaction, as you can see, they give up. As you can see, you know, in the normal circumstances, they're very supportive, very friendly, safe environment. Under pressure, what do? Sometimes they'll give in, you know, and they will accuse when it comes to very extreme cases. S person is very careful, as we shared earlier on, quiet. So DI is personality that very outward facing. S and C is very quiet itself. And then for C, they can't decide. And then for extreme reaction, for C, they tend to go a bit of emotional, ego, and they attack people itself. So maybe I like to ask everyone, is there a perfect DISC score? A person with high D, high I, high S, and high C. Why no? Vivian? Maybe someone can disagree? Anyone that agree with Vivian or someone that say that yes, there may be a perfect DISC score, that everything is 100%. Every individual have different personality, correct? Any inputs for anyone? You can unmute yourself because it's supposed when it comes to DISC, I would say sharing is good that, you know, we talk, we exchange.
Now I'm a high C, careful, quiet, can't decide. I'm feeling I'm being emotionally attacked.
Yeah, okay, so I would say there's no perfect DISC score, you know, because if you are too perfect, something is wrong because you can't always maintain a high D, high I, high S, and high C. You can't be this perfect score. DISC basically means that people react very differently.
And
so normally some of us have two key domains.
And then can be perfect.
One. Pardon?
Can be perfect. They are pretentious people.
You can't be perfect because DISC is like, in a way, how do you measure people as well?
pretentious people can be perfect because they pretend to be perfect.
Okay.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Why is my slides always not?
Yeah. At the same time, I think Anthony also you brought up that it depends on the individual personality, but I think DISC is more about how you react in different situations. And I guess for Hitler, I think that part can debate lah. Hitler is more like a high I to me because he's really great at talking, really great at motivating others to follow a certain belief. So yeah, that sounds more like a I than a D.
Yeah. So like what Jackie earlier mentioned, you know, there isn't a perfect DISC score, and it's really depending on how we react in different situations. And at the same time, maybe I would say I also agree that Hitler is maybe a high I itself also as well. Okay, so I think as I shared, this is one of the few last two slides that I'll be sharing with you what is DISC. DISC, the idea now is that we avoid labeling people because it's the way whereby all the different styles are equally valuable because all different styles bring you both strength and weaknesses, and everyone is a blend of 4 styles. Some of us may have 2 styles, like for me, I got DI, and then maybe I would say 3 years ago, I was DS because environment changes as well. And then, as I mentioned, the last point, which is people can adapt their styles to fit in different scenarios. So DISC, I will show you my results. Some of you all have this, right? So you can see, you know, once you finish the DISC, you know, the highest percentage is mainly your dominance, I would say your dominant personality factors. And the second one is the next, and so on. So for me, I'm very high in D and S. And then slowly I go C and I. So you can see this is some of the ways as we shared early on. D is about how I deal with problems. How do I derive energy? I'm very direct. I is, you know, I like to talk a lot. So you can see my I down here, I don't like to talk. So I am a bit quiet at times as well. You know, so this is the way you're driven, energetic, you know, you can do by yourself, independent, and so on and so forth. As you can see my report, the S, you know, my patience, maybe yes, maybe no.
I heard that there are 4 marks.
Yeah. So later, you know, because everyone, the profile, the percentage is very different as well. So if you are okay, you can text me, then I can sit down with you, I can do a phone conversation with you, talk to you, and analyze about your DISC profile. So what I've done today is basically to showcase you the D, the I, the S, and C. How do we categorize people accordingly? How do various people react when comes challenges, external factors? Then, once you finish the report, this is the report. Like for me, my key dominance is D. Some of you may be balanced. So it really depends on scenario to scenario. With that, any questions so far?
So Alan, actually DISC will change according to our life environment, right? And the age, yeah. Age, new order also change.
Yeah. Unlike MBTI, MBTI is like there's 90 questions, they measure with you 16 domains. DISC is much simpler, there's 4 domains, and then how do I measure you accordingly? Okay? Any questions, team?
Alan, can I just check, is there a difference between Enneagram and DISC?
Enneagram is actually another way of personality profiling because there's a lot of personal profiling across, I would say, the whole world. DISC is just one of them, but DISC focus on how do I react according to external factors. Okay, clear?
Okay. So if we do the DISC, we don't need to do the Enneagram, right?
Yeah, that depends on you on what you require from the results, what you want to best understand yourself. Like MBTI, there's 16 domains. They also measure the internal factors of how you react, how you feel, the intentional aspect, and so on.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Alan, are you able to give us the slide? No.
The slides I can send you, not an issue.
谢谢你.
Alan, if I come here. So knowing this DISC, what can we do to manage our own activities, or how we going to be useful to us?
Okay, maybe I share with you an example. Okay, maybe going for lunch. How will the D person react? How will I person react? How will S and C person react? So maybe I can exchange ideas with everyone. In a DISC, when a person in D for lunch, what will the person say?
Let's eat Japanese.
Yeah, they are normally the D is they prefer to decide. Right? And I, no matter what location, they are okay because they just like to talk. So when the places that you choose, maybe it's an environment that you can allow them to express yourself as well. Correct. So as you can see, some of them really say already, you know, S and C is a very quiet, stable. C, compliant. They always prefer to go back to the same location to eat the meals. DISC, you give them any location around Singapore, they will just go because they prefer to decide and then they just move. I prefer location doesn't matter because I like to talk. Influential, the actors, the actresses, and so on. S and C, as I shared earlier on, is people that's very quiet, especially for C, compliant. They always like to go back to the same stop. Okay? So the purpose of DISC is basically for us to understand yourself. When you engage them, how to engage them. So as I mentioned earlier on, I can be sharing with you the slides. Give me a minute. So like I mentioned, you know, these are the different ways, different techniques of how you communicate with them. Like for D, go to the results. For C, you focus on the details. You need to minimize some prep talk. You be patient, and then you be very diplomatic, and then give them details. You know, maybe I would say for C, when I ask them for lunch, I will recap. That time we went for lunch at this few location, maybe we would like to go back. So it is the way that you communicate with your loved one as well. You know, maybe I would say, maybe my wife is a S. Then, you know, maybe I need to recap, where do we go? Where do we have lunch? A D person is person I decide. You follow, you just go. Clear? Any questions so far?
Alan, John is mentioning that the SC profile seem to be undesirable compared to a DI.
No, so again, I will emphasize that S and C is not undesirable. It really depends on scenario. So I would say even a D person is not desirable when it comes to data because they don't like data. S and C, as you can see, these traits are important, maybe due to different scenario itself. Some of y'all need the link, right?
Yeah, no worries, I'll send the link out later.
Yes, I need the link.
Okay, Lily, I sent to you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Remember,
no worries.
The slides. Thank you. Good night.
So
Jackie sent to me also.
Alan, remember me.
Jackie,
Peng.
done.
谢谢你.
Thank you, Alan.
Alan, thank you. Good night. Have a nice dream.
Yeah,
Thanks, Alan. Good
maybe
night.
Jackie want to say something. No. Jackie need to do commercial break.
No, I think it's time. Okay, just hang on first.
Still got commercial break.
Still got commercial break one.
Wait. I think there are still some questions inside here that we haven't addressed, but it's okay. I mean, if you guys have something to attend to, you all can go ahead and go for your next activity. But I think over here we need to highlight certain things, right? The first thing is that with regards to this DISC, again, is how you respond to the external environment. Okay, assuming today I'm high D, Alan is high D, Ethan is high D. Now, how do we work? How can we work together? All right. At this point in time, if let's say in the lunch situation, Ethan wants to eat char siu rice, Alan wants to eat Japanese food, I want to eat Yong Tau Fu, right? So it cannot be every day that we are arguing about lunch, correct? So at that point in time, whoever has the highest D, for example, if Ethan is the most the most dominant person that day, then of course Alan and I will have to bring up our compliance side. So we manually have to go and increase our own C in order to agree with him and then follow his decision, right? So learning about DISC about yourself, number one, okay, help you to understand why you make certain decision. At the same time, when you know about other people's DISC, you will know how you can adjust yourself to be able to fit in with them. Okay, so then that will be the way how to make things work. All right, and then for those of you who feel like there are certain profile that are undesirable, or like you feel like you are losing out, let me tell you, there is no losing out here. Because let me share with you my case. If I am a high D, high I, that means I'm a guy that is very, I like to make a lot of decisions. At the same time, I like to talk a lot, right? Try to make you to do something. But then can you imagine if the whole team of us, all 11 of us are all high D and high I, then everybody all talk only. Then who do the work? Correct? So that's why in order for a work team to be functional, there needs to be people who are leading, which is the leader. There also need to be the people who are the support, which means that whatever the leader say, the team can deliver. Else, right, everybody all talk only, there's nothing gonna happen. So I'm sure all of you can see, right, in terms of the entire Team Nila HQ or the VEP team setup, right? There's myself, there's Alan, there's Pauline, there's Chong Meng, there's Serene Wang. All of us are doing different roles, and in your various interaction with us, you can see that actually we are not fighting against each other. We are using each other's strengths to be able to achieve a bigger objective, right? So that's why there's no weak personality. Everybody is all complementary to each other. Yeah, Karen, you're right. You need to act according to the situation. So we need to be flexible in our own profile as well, right?
The beauty of DISC is as well for you to understand yourself better, adjust, react accordingly. So like for myself, I'm high D and I. So sometimes I need to increase my S&C. I need to increase my details. I need to be more analytical. I need to be more safe. So it's really for you to understand so that you can react according to scenarios from scenarios.
Yeah, and I think also one key takeaway here is you cannot use this to avoid to label people. Okay, so like as per all the sharings that we've done earlier, okay, this is to help you to gain awareness, not to teach you how to categorize others. Because can you imagine, right? If every time during lunchtime and I look at Alan, I'll be like, hey, Alan, you are high D, you decide what to eat for lunch. After 1 week, after 1 month, he will get upset with me already. Say, hey, stop this, Jackie. The DISC profile doesn't define me. Okay, then that become another point of conflict already, right? So this kind of thing is something that you keep in your mind, put it in the back of your mind, and then you react accordingly to the situation. Not something that you put at the front of your mouth, and then you keep on talking like, oh yeah, Chong Meng, he's a high I, that's why I don't need to ask him to decide. He will not be able to decide anything. That's not true. You know what I mean? Okay, any more? Very hard for SC to be DI. Yeah, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to be a DI. Yeah, for a DI to become a SC also impossible. You ask me to sit down and write a report, I cannot do it. I really can't. All right, any other questions from anyone? Need to know when to exert and when to compromise. Exactly. That's why it is not a fixed personality profile. It's a fluid one that changes. You are right. Peter, don't mind you just unmute your mic and you just share with us what do you mean by a double ox? Peter? Yeah, because if I were to guess what double ox means this person is extremely stubborn. Am I right?
Yes, exactly. It's sometimes when you deal with people who have got a very strong character and they're very stubborn, so how are you going to motivate them or to draw them out?
Alan, you want to move back to the slide where how to communicate with a dominant personality? Yeah, so Peter, I think this is the this is the advice that we will give, you know, for communicating with somebody who's extremely dominant, extremely have a very strong opinion and really want to get the opinion across, right? I guess setting a bottom line, that means to draw a boundary with them, to say like, you know, this is it, right? Like example, I mean, if you're asking for a discount, right, and the cost price is like $2, you cannot go lesser than $2. So you need to draw a line at somewhere so then they have a line, they know where they can, you know, push, where's the boundary they can push.
Yeah, then at the same time, for me, when I talk to a D person in the event that I cannot get the message through, maybe for now, I tend to pause the conversation because the D person is very demanding, directive. So maybe we have a timeout so that, you know, we don't talk further. Then you can revisit conversation another day as well.
Okay, understand.
If he's the boss, you have to be careful.
Yes. Yeah, it's also about managing, I guess. And then there's also another interesting question. Can a SC be given a leadership role?
Why not?
Why not?
Right. So I'll say why not?
Manage the D guy.
Financial officer, why not?
But he cannot manage the D person.
Doesn't mean that he can use other ways to communicate with the D person, what?
Yeah. So if a SC were to have to manage a D, right, do you think that they have to increase their D, or is there another domain where they can actually improve as well? Right? Think about it. If I'm a SC and I need to manage a D, other than increasing my own D, maybe I can also increase my I. Right? What if I can speak better? I'm able to influence him by motivating, by finding out what makes him or her tick. Right? Then that is something that can be done as well.
Yeah. So this is the one of the last slide that, you know, basically summarize the entire thing on DISC. As I said earlier on, the person is very action, task oriented. Stability. With that, thank you so much. I will hand the time back to Jackie.
Thank you, Alan. If everybody think Alan did a great job today, please use the reaction button. Give him a clap like what I'm doing right now. Thank you. Right, I guess you know, we've come until here already. It's time for a bit of advertisement. So for tomorrow, we are going to have Mariana's workout session, and this time we are going to feature Chong Meng as well as our volunteer Patricia Tong. Okay, so you can join us at 5:30 p.m. tomorrow on Zoom or Facebook Live. Okay, and then on Friday we're gonna have our talent time, team talent again at 7:30. So you can join us there to see our fellow volunteers, you know, showcase their skills and hidden talents, right? Amazing. And then of course Saturday we're gonna have our own show, which is gonna be a special episode, if I'm not wrong, right, Chong Meng? Okay, and yeah, next week we're also gonna have our Wednesday webinars again. So do let me know what kind of topic you want to hear about. All right, and with that, yes, I can wish everybody a wonderful evening, and I will see you next week.
Thank you, Jackie and Ellen. Have a nice stream tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie.